So last year we had Horizon Zero Dawn released for the PC, and that seemed to surprise a lot of people because it was Sony taking one of their first-party games that was only available on PlayStation hardware and moving it over to PC. Now, they didn't do anyone any favors because the game, while it was like $10 or $11 or something on the PlayStation, it's very easy to find it cheap. It released at like $40 or so on PC. So Sony was moving it over, obviously, to then sell it at a much higher rate. But the question really became, will Sony do this more with some of their other first-party titles that are only available on PlayStation? I figured, yeah, as long as Horizon Zero Dawn at least sold within reason for them and it makes sense to move these games over and get more money from them, they probably would continue to do that. And now it looks like Jim Ryan, in an interview with GQ, expanded on this a bit more and even gave us the title for the next PlayStation game that's going to be heading to PC. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new to the Spawn Life Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. We're head over here to The Verge. They summarized Jim Ryan's comments on this whole thing pretty well. But this was an interview with GQ, and there was a lot of info getting thrown around in there. Some of this will be in Newswave tomorrow, along with a delay for a big PS5 title, and some talks even about the next PlayStation VR headset. But here we are with Ben Studio saying surprise Days Gone comes to PC this spring. Stay tuned for more details. Now, spring, I guess in a couple of months, I guess it'll drop on Steam. Pre-orders could be going live at any time then. We'll keep an eye on that. But I'm kind of disappointed as Days Gone, I'll be honest. There are more titles coming, this according to Jim Ryan, so I mean, I guess anything could happen here, but I was really hoping for Bloodborne. Bloodborne has been stuck at this performance level that to me makes no sense. There should be a PS5 patch, sure, whatever. Port it to PC if you have to kind of get the development budget and all of this intact. So like if it goes to PC, I would expect Bloodborne to also have some sort of patch for PlayStation 5 at the same time. Whatever they got to do to make that game run better, it would be awesome. But anyway, if we scroll down here, Jim Ryan did give some reasoning as to why they are looking to the PC, kind of away from the PlayStation platform, saying, we find ourselves now in early 2021 with our development studios and the games that they make in better shape than they've ever been before. Particularly from the latter half of the PS4 cycle, our studios made some wonderful, great games. There's an opportunity to expose those great games to a wider audience and recognize the economics of game development, which are not always straightforward. The cost of making games goes up with each cycle as the caliber of the IP has improved. Ryan added it's easier as well to make PlayStation games available to non-console owners, making it a fairly straightforward decision for us to make. It's still unclear which other PlayStation titles might make the jump to PC. So it's pretty obvious here what Jim Ryan is saying, and that is naturally that revenue is driving the decision, as you would expect with any business. And I have wondered for a while when it comes to the overall install size for the PlayStation system itself and versus the sales for some of these first-party titles from Sony. You would expect if a PlayStation 4 system, for example, sells over 100 million units, when a big game from Sony comes out, 5 million shouldn't be too hard for it to get, but sometimes it is. I don't know if Sony even told us the numbers for Days Gone. I know we heard that it was pretty good overall for a PlayStation Store. Like it seemed to kind of rank at the top for a little while there throughout 2019, I think, but for the most part, we don't really know how many copies Days Gone has sold like now. So that does make you wonder if it was doing really, really well, Sony would probably be marching around telling everybody how well is selling. We know that like Spider-Man sold well, God of War sold well, which is great. Last of Us done pretty well, but like we don't really hear about too many 30 million unit sellers for Sony when it comes to their first party stuff. We talk about Nintendo numbers all the time, and that's what Nintendo runs on is their first party software to then sell their hardware, but most people buy a Switch to play Nintendo games. Some people buy a PlayStation to play Call of Duty, to play Madden, to play FIFA. They might not even look at the lineup really from Sony. Sony's worked their way into a position where they became the default system when you buy a gaming system because it has all of the titles. It has the Call of Duties and all of this. Then naturally throughout the PlayStation 4 life cycle where it was cheaper and the word of mouth built on top of that versus what Microsoft was doing with a camera and voice recognition and all of this. Yeah, the favor shifted towards Sony, but I don't necessarily know if it shifted in Sony's favor because they had these big, massive 20 to 30 million unit sellers with their games. And that's not like to say it's a bad thing. It's obviously a good thing. They make a ton of money right now from their PlayStation division. Their network revenue is off the charts. But what this does is it has Sony kind of look around a little bit and and say, you know what? People do buy these games on the PlayStation, but I mean, 3 years later, could we really move this over to PC and charge them $40, $50 for this game? Probably. I mean, it worked for Horizon Zero Dawn, so why not? The big question will be if we ever get to a point where the next big game from Sony comes out, like the next Spider-Man, well, the Spider-Man 2 probably won't be, but like the next big Last of Us game that could be, years and years down the road or something like that. If it'll come out and it'll have like PlayStation and then PC right next to it. There was that talk originally about Demon's Souls when that showed up, and at the end of the trailer it mentioned something about a PC version or not necessarily like just PlayStation exclusive. And I do think Demon's Souls will eventually go to PC. I just don't think it's going to be right away or anytime soon. This could be something that Sony internally looks around at their older library of games. Like, they basically give away Days Gone now. If you have a PlayStation 5 and PlayStation Plus, you can just download Days Gone. It's part of the PlayStation Plus collection. So Sony's kind of looking at that saying, we could get more money from this. I mean, if anyone wants to play it, they probably already have on the PlayStation. Let's see if we can make this work on PC. Let's see if Bloodborne will work on PC. You know what the big one would be that would be really interesting is if they did Gran Turismo, because the way licensing for Remember works with like cars and all of this, it's kind of timed, so that would be the game that they may actually try to push to PC like day one alongside the PlayStation version. That one also operates heavily on the idea of monthly active users because they look to sell a lot of DLC. So you get more people in playing throughout the months and months, and you keep dropping more cars and stuff. It's a big time revenue generator right there. Yeah, Sony is more or less looking forward to how can we continue to sell more copies of our first party titles, because I mean, it's being said right here by Jim Ryan, the economics don't make a lot of sense with how they are in terms of keeping it just on the PlayStation. And I do see people asking about like Nintendo, for example. They're not in this situation currently. Like, could it happen in the future? I mean, I guess if Nintendo looked around and said, you know what, we probably need to sell these games on PC so that it makes sense for us economically. But like, They sold 30 million copies of Animal Crossing already, and trust me, the budget for some of these Nintendo games, nowhere near what we see from Sony right now, like in terms of their game development. So for me, looking at that, Nintendo's probably okay with where they are, and they're very happy because they're looking to drive console sales, whereas Sony is looking basically at this massive landscape of gamers on PC who would probably be interested in their games. And you know what? Moving these ones over probably won't hurt their hardware sales, because you can't buy a PS5 now anyway, and it continues to sell out. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. I think it's a good thing that more and more people can play these games, because it's up to Sony. It's their games. They want to move them over. That's fine. I'll just be more interested to see if we ever get one of these big-time Sony games that drop on the PlayStation 5 and then the PC day one. That could be really interesting. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.